Hello there, it's Nathan from WP Builds, and I'm going to show you another AppSumo deal, which is currently on the AppSumo website. If you go to appsumo.com/all, you'll see something here called ShortPixel. Let's click on there and find out what it is. Essentially, it's for people. Well, I guess a good place to start would be who needs this. And really, if you've got a website and you own a website and you pay for hosting, one of the things that you would like to do with that website is to make it as fast as possible. You would also like to keep the cost down for the amount of data that you're storing on that host. So this might be something that you're interested in. What it does is it compresses images, hopefully in a way that you simply don't notice on the front end. So an example here is, here's some fruit in a bowl, the original image, and here is the compressed version. Now the idea is it reduces the size of the image, the amount of kilobytes, and so it reduces the amount of time that it takes for people to view your web page. Now Google take the amount of time that it takes to load your web page as a real indicator for their SEO rankings. So this could be a very important thing. Now, at the moment, ShortPixel is a sort of SaaS product, if you like, but they have a WordPress plugin. And the idea is that you link WordPress, or you might choose not to link WordPress. You could just do it all by yourself, upload the images and take them out of ShortPixel itself. But the idea is you give it images and it then compresses those and gives you a much, much smaller file size in return. And then because of that, your pages load much quicker. Now, the way it works is, I'm going to show you the WordPress version. What you do is you pay for it on AppSumo and you get your license code and you sign in and get all of that goodness. And then they send you what's called the API key in an email. And the API key is just a string of text. And what you've got to do is, once you've downloaded the WordPress plugin here, just search for ShortPixel image optimizer in the WordPress repository for plugins, and then you'll upload that into your WordPress install. And you can see over here, if I was to go to plugins on this install of WordPress, you'd see that all I've done here is uploaded it and activated it. And you could upload it by literally typing in here, in this little box here, ShortPixel image optimizer, and you would find it and install it. Anyway, what that does, in the settings panel down here, you get a new option called ShortPixel. Now, if you go into there, all that you need to do is copy and paste your API key that came in your email. Now, this is my API key, and if you're thinking of stealing it, don't bother, because as soon as this video is finished, I'm going to go into the ShortPixel backend and click this button, which will reset my API key to something completely different. So it's not worth you doing. Anyway, what happens is you install this, and here are the settings. Basically, by default, these are the settings that are enabled. It's going to, every time you upload an image, it's going to refactor that, compress it into a smaller size, and it's going to do it all automatically, and it's going to do it on their infrastructure. So it's not going to use up your hosting and CPU cycles. They're going to do it at their end and give it back to you. So you've got three options of compression type. Lossy, which is recommended. It offers the best compression rate. This is the one that most people are going to use because essentially it does reduce the file size, but on the whole, you can't see, the human eye can't really detect the difference. You can go for something called glossy, and it creates an almost pixel perfect identical to the original. And this, it says it's better for people like photographers and professionals who use really, 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 exacting images. And then finally, there's this lossless one, and it says that in some rare situations, you might want to do this if you've got a super precise image, like a technical drawing or maybe some sort of vector graphic. I'm going to leave it on lossy. Also include the thumbnails. Now, WordPress, every time you upload an image, you may not know this, but if you go into settings, media, it creates multiple versions of that image so that they can be reused. So by default, it creates a thumbnail, a medium size, and a large size image, as well as the original. It keeps the original. Now, That means that every time you upload an image, there are four images created, and so this will, if you click this box, it will resize those three extra ones as well. So it's going to do a bit more heavy lifting, and these are, I would say, this is really, you're daft not to include this, because most of the images that are going to appear on your website are going to be these thumbnails. That's the most likely use case. It's going to be things like thumbnails on podcasts on archive pages and things like that, and featured images, that kind of thing. Save this one, image backup, save an original. That's quite a good idea, into a separate folder. So if something goes wrong or you want the original back, you've still got it. Now, images, although you probably don't realize it, excuse me, they carry what's called EXIF data attached to them. So it might be, for example, things like GPS position data, camera manufacturer, and date and time. Now, on a website, it's utterly pointless having this. So this will, again, squish out a little bit of data that doesn't need to be present. So I've ticked that. And you can say, every time we get an image that's really big, why don't we just make it much smaller? So if we get a really big image, let's say from a camera or a mobile phone, let's just squish it, make it smaller immediately so that it's instantaneously smaller. Well, that just makes sense to me. I haven't clicked it because the images I'm going to use, it's quite good to illustrate how big they are. So, but I think it's a good idea to include this. Now, so that's the general settings. Clicking on the advanced, you can also say, actually, I've got a load of other media folders as well. I don't just have the standard WordPress media folder. I've got these other ones as well, and you can add them in here. I don't, because this is a vanilla install, but if you do and you know what you're doing, you can add those in here. Automatically convert PNG images to JPEG. Well, PNG images, because they have things like transparency, can be they can be more data hungry. JPEG, if you know that you don't really need transparent images and things, it would be a good idea to tick this box. It does say that if it detects transparency, then it's not going to squish those images anyway. Okay. CMYK to RGB. Now on the web, you only need RGB photographs. You don't need CMYK. So ticking this one just makes sense. About 2 years ago, Google came up with this new image format called WebP. It hasn't been completely adopted by all the browser manufacturers yet, but it is a really, really fine project. It's as far as I know at the moment, it creates the smallest file size for any image, but it's not widely adopted. So I would say probably a good idea in the future to use this, but right now, not necessarily, because not all the browsers support it. And if you're going to tick this box to say, yeah, create a WebP version as well as the normal version, you might as well tick this one so that it creates the correct markup on the front, so that when the HTML is rendered, it's got the correct tags. Optimize Retina images. That's for iPads and things like that have got a Retina display. Optimize other thumbs. I haven't ticked that. It says some plugins create thumbnails which are not registered in the metadata, but instead only create them alongside the thumbnails. I don't have anything like that, but if you wish to, put it in there. Automatically optimize PDF documents. That's quite an interesting one. I didn't really realize that PDF documents could be squished necessarily, but apparently they can. And then there's some more complicated settings down here, which I'm not going to go into. Statistics will give you a little bit of information about how much you've put through the system, how much ShortPixel has actually done for you. So in my case, I've done very, very little, as you're going to see in a minute. Now, this stuff is also available, I think, on their website. You can go into, now where is it? One of these here. Got the sort of same information down here. I'm sure there was there you go, optimization report. Let's see if that gives us some information. Yeah, there you go. It's not quite as detailed, is it? It tells me that I've done 4 images. I only got it today, so that's it. And with the AppSumo deal, you get 5,000 images per month. You can stack the deal so that you could get 10,000 or 15,000. And of course, as the AppSumo deal says, it's $25 for lifetime, which I think is a total bargain. Right, let's see how it works then. Basically, there's nothing to see, but I'll show you it anyway. If, for example, we were to go into the media library, Now, what you have to do is you have to turn off the grid view because the information that you're going to be accessing is over here. If you have it in the grid view, as you'll see, all of that sort of stuff goes away. And there's a little nag here which says turn on the list view, otherwise you can't look at the ShortPixel output. So turn that back on again. And I'm just going to drag in the normal way, a sort of WordPress image. So let's drag in this picture that I've got and drop it in. Oh, I apologize. That wasn't successful, was it? Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go in here because this is just such a nice way of actually dropping and dragging images. So I'll do it this way, and then we'll look at the stuff. So I've just dragged an image in, and you can see it's of like pipes and whatnot. Let's find another suitable image that we might be able to put in. I've got a couple saved here. This is a really large one of somebody dragging somebody through the snow. That'll take a few seconds to go in. And here's another one. Okay, that's going to take a few seconds to go in. And finally, let's drag in this one as well. Now, what should be happening once the image is uploaded, it should just do things magically, automatically, without you even noticing or doing anything. So we have here an image of somebody being, as I said, dragged through the snow. It's now moved on to this second image. And whilst we're sitting here talking, ShortPixel will be compressing silently in the background this image without us actually lifting a finger or doing anything, and reducing its size and making it so that it's faster to serve. The second thing will now be happening with this picture of mountains and this picture also. Now, as we said, you can't display this information about what it's actually done unless you click the list view. So let's click the list view, and you can see here ShortPixel is actually busy doing stuff. So we've uploaded 4 images. It tackled this one very, very quickly because it was a tiny, tiny image. And using the lossy compression technique, it's managed to reduce the size of that image by 76.42%, it claims. And it's also had a go at the thumbnail sizes as well. Now, if we were to go back into ShortPixel and refresh, hopefully this number 4 will have gone up. Now it's gone up to 26 because I've now compressed 26 images. Now that will include all of these images, but I think it's important to notice that it does not count as one image because WordPress automatically creates all these other images. Don't think that by uploading one image, you're going to count one of your 5,000. You're going to count however many types of thumbnails WordPress creates for you. So in my case, every time I upload one image, it's going to be making 3 more. So that's 4 in total. So that's why that number has just shot up. So let's just have a quick look. Let's refresh it, see if it's gone up from 26. I don't suppose it has. 27, yeah, it's done 1 more. So you can see it's busy in the background, and it's basically doing things that you don't really need to know about. And you can see up here, there's a little thing whizzing around saying, I'm doing stuff. I'm interested to see. So that one, it managed to reduce the Alps. It looked like the Alps, the picture of the mountains, by 90%, which is pretty incredible. So let's say, well, we can actually look at that photo in a moment. I don't know if I want to hop out of this page. Let's give it a go. Let's have a look at it. You can see that originally, I don't know what the original file size was, but my guess is it was a lot bigger than 1 megabyte. Let me go back over into my Mac, and I'll actually look at how big it was to begin with. I'll do get info, which is a way on the Mac of finding out exactly how big that was. And obviously we're hoping, oh my word, yeah. So that image to begin with was 14.6 megabytes, and it's managed to squish it to 1. And I'm looking at the 2 images. You probably can't see what I'm doing, so I'll just drag that. Look, there's my Mac Finder. I genuinely can't really spot the difference between one and the other. There will be a difference because I'm using the lossy compression technique, but it's pretty fine, isn't it? You know, you didn't really spot too much of a difference there. And of course, the same is going to be true for all the other images. Now let's see how we've done. It's going to hopefully give us the information now. But that one there, we reduced it from 14 megabytes to 1 megabyte. This other one here, if it's going to give us the information in a moment, This image of somebody being dragged through the snow was, let's have a look, get info on the Mac. That was, it's not telling me. 14.9. 14.9. Now, unfortunately, for some reason that I can't quite explain, this section here isn't loading. It's probably because I clicked back. I'm going to actually just refresh the page and see if that improves matters. Yeah, so that image was reduced by 93. This one was reduced by 50%. So you can see that from 14.9, that one ended up being 617 kilobytes. So that's a very dramatic decrease. That's brilliant, isn't it? Really cool. And this last one apparently was reduced by 50.6%. Now, if I look over here and click it one more time, so those images took me 23. There were 23 calls to the API out of my 5,000. So that's how many I'm going to have used. But if you understand WordPress and your desire to create a speedy site, you'll realize that this is actually a really very cool thing to have. Each time you serve an image, it's going to automatically reduce the size of it, make it so that it's going to load as fast as humanly possible without any loss of quality as far as the eye can see. You've got a lot of settings in there that you can flip and change around. And I think it's totally, totally worth $25. And I'm thinking of stacking it up several times so that I can do it for all the websites that I currently run. Brilliant. Okay, if you've enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up on the old YouTube channel. That'd be great. And hopefully you found some benefit to this and you've been able to see whether or not this is actually worth having in your situation. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.